This video is made for adult collectors because bro knows who someone's wife is. It's always really satisfying when you complete a collection of figures, right? And a lot of times, like nowadays, it's been like the Doom and Destruction collection or the Primes and stuff like that. But for me, it's been that, and then that, and finally that. I have all of them now, and I will never get rid of them. Oh, and I keep seeing people beg for this, so here you go, Armada Wheeljack. I often get asked at cons and stuff, actually on the YouTuber panel specifically, what my favorite Transformers toy is, and I also get asked who my favorite character is, and I guess part of me didn't really want to admit that my favorite character comes from The Last Knight, but guess what? Screw it. Nitro Zeus is my favorite Transformers toy and character. But I've talked about that version already, and Thundercracker, but here I finally have the last one. KSI Boss. And KSI Boss is now my version of Nitro Zeus because look at how much better this looks. It's so much nicer. Like this deco is it's so cool. So I just spent the last like 15 minutes putting this together on the floor behind the camera so like you have a flight stand, and it immediately snapped off in his torso. That's old action bases. Anyways, this is KSI Boss from Studio Series. We need a new Studio Series mold for Nitro Zeus. Leader, proper proportions, accurate head, accurate limbs, Saab Gripen alt mode. The Saab Gripen is my favorite jet, so I require a toy out of that. I want to get one of the model kits. Actually, speaking of the Gripen, it's actually a playable plane in a game. That game being War Thunder. Sponsor time. Come on, that transition was actually great. War Thunder is a free-to-play multiplayer game where you get to drive different air, land, and sea vehicles, and yes, even the Gripen. Look, there it is. That's so epic. But War Thunder is a massive action simulator with large-scale maps and battles, using such a vast array of vehicles to combat other players in epic events. War Thunder perfectly captures the scale and sensation of a fierce battle with epic graphics, sound design, and physics on the battlefield. Whether you prefer blasting through in a tank or soaring high in the sky as a jet, I don't know what I've done. I'm upside down. And they've done their most recent update, Leviathans, adding the American Comanche helicopter, the Soviet T-72B3 tank that's equipped with the Arena Active Protection System, the Yamato battleship, and so much more. War Thunder is available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and it is completely free. You can download it using the link in the description or the pinned comment, and all new players or those who haven't played in a very long time will receive 100,000 Silver Lions, a special Decorator Eagle of Valor, and a whole bunch more, so check them out, links below. And it's also available on mobile for free, so if you want to play it literally wherever, you can on your smartphone. Thank you very much for sponsoring this video. Now back to the actual toy. The toy that should be a Saab Gripen but isn't a Saab Gripen but a modified F-16 Fighting Falcon. Paint job is sublime though. I really liked Thundercracker, but man, this has quickly taken over my top spot of this mold for me. I dig the gray wings with the silver body, and then the cannon being the single thruster in the opening cockpit that can fit a whole Titan Master. There is an undercarriage, but the way it does it kind of flows into the shape of the plane, and then plugging the missiles into the wings help it feel a lot more uniform. Like the underkibble feels like it belongs there because of how rounded his robot is. He does have landing gear, which is good because a lot of the torso is paint, so it would just scratch if you stuck it on the ground. It is a big jet too. Everything stays put in alt mode and it feels nice. I say it feels nice, but like the plastic still feels like Last Night plastic because it felt like Last Night plastic. Now, the transformation of this thing, I've told this story before, so I won't get too into it, but complicated and the instructions suck. So let's get through that process and why I actually like it a lot. This isn't an easy one to do. I remember the instructions being, at least for this guy, being so horrible that none of this, put it in frame so you can see it, none of this wanted to work properly with the instructions. I think I watched the MGO video way back in the day to figure out how this worked. So, you know, he's been a lifesaver for ages, but now I know how to do it, and it's quite fun. So, to start with, you're going to fold up the landing gear at the front. The rear ones don't fold away, they're just there. And then we are going to take the wings, and they peg into two spots. We're going to lift it up. They peg in right here, and then right here. And you got to make sure both of those line up, and then it goes into here as well underneath the torso. It holds everything together. Because once you take this out, the nose cone wants to start coming off. So we're going to take the wings, bring them out. We're going to take the missiles and take them off, and then we are going to take this section back here and bring it up, fold that over, and just bring that out like that. It's on a double hinge, so we'll just leave it there. Now comes the interesting part. So this is extremely unique for a jet transformer. I don't think I've ever seen a jet transformer do stuff like this. This kinda has the limbs go in some similar areas, but you know, it's not nearly as interesting as this. So to start with, you're going to unpeg this. Now when you're pegging it back in, it's got a hook underneath here and hook into here. So you want to go in at an angle, twist the thigh, like the thigh rotation by a little bit that way to get the hook underneath, and then spin it in and then peg it into the back. That's how you get that into place. And it's super easy once you figure that out. I see a lot of people trying to jam this in and not getting it. You just go dunk, and there it goes. It's so easy. So you bring that out on both sides, and we're just going to rotate the legs down, and now you can see this is an arm and this is an arm, but that's the torso. How the hell does it do that? Well, that comes down like that, because why not? And then this will bend down here, you rotate the arm, and then you take this section and you bring it up. It's on this really weird hinge, and it comes up and into place. Then you want to take the head, fold it down, fold this in, peg it into place, rotate it 180 degrees. Then you bring this section back in, and they will both come into the crotch and snap together. Then you rotate the thighs around, bring the feet down. He can now stand up. We're going to fold out the cannon, open up the hand. We're going to take this cannon section here, split this, and then bring this open, and then fold out these little fin things here. Once you have that done, we can deal with the back. So the tail fin very ungracefully just goes back here. But these are cool. You open this section up, and then you rotate this whole piece, and it will peg into the wing, and then the wing will peg into it, forming the little engine things he has on his back. That's super cool the way that they figured that out. So you get this, you fold this around, get that in, then you take the missiles and you plug them into the top, and there you have it. There is KSI Boss / Nitro Zeus with his wobbly head in robot mode. I love doing that, especially the way that the legs and arms sort of like suck into each other. It's super cool. Yeah, that's a complex transformation, but once you get into the groove, it's a lot of fun, and that's some nice ass paint. And this design is super cool. Again, concept design, but it's still cool. I love the dark gray and silver with the bronze / brown leading into that mono eye. I dig this shade of like dark bluish gray. Honestly, I kind of wish they'd use it a bit more. There's a little bit of stuff hanging off the back. It's on a friction hinge, so you can remove it, but you know, early Studio Series and Last Night plastic, I don't know if I'd recommend doing that. What I would recommend is fixing the elbow. This elbow only bends at 35 degrees-ish because of the tab port section. So taking it apart and like shaving that inner port off the arm gives you a full 90-degree bend while still allowing you to plug the jet together. I recommend doing that. I love the knee pads because they work like normal knee pads, but KSI Boss and Nitro Zeus have them stay on the thighs. They have rounded thighs and rounded knees. So when the knee is bent, you can just fold the knee pad to simulate that look. I dig that. Or you can have it up if you want to have it up. There is no ankle tilt because Last Night mold. It's a bit but he has large enough heels that he balances well enough that you kind of don't really need the ankle tilt to put him in poses. It would look nicer if he had an ankle tilt though. He has his Gatling gun and his cockpit gun thingy. No hose though, but I don't know how you would fit that in here. And this head, it's the wrong head again. No version of this toy has ever gotten the head right, specifically the Nitro KSI version. Thundercracker didn't even show up in the movie, so like his head doesn't matter. This one just needs like different ears and it would be okay, and you can buy replacements for that off of eBay or whatever. I really like how the wings form the engines at the back with the missiles and the nice bronze and the actual engine part on top. The head still does the headmaster thing, so you can give him goofy ass heads if you want. Like, just look at the difference. It's insane how much nicer this looks over this 2017 and 2019, I think, 18, 19, something like that. Anyways, Studio Series KSI Boss. If you've seen the articulation of these ones, it's exactly the same. If you haven't, well, let's talk about it. So the head is on a very wobbly Titan Master connection, but it does have a ball joint, so it can tilt that far left, that far right. You can look up that far, you can look down that far, and you get full rotation. These shoulders, they can do a full 360 degrees. They can go out, the shoulder pad moves out of the way to accommodate that, and this way. So the shoulder pads, per Nitro's design, are supposed to like stay like this, but when you move them out, and then you move the arm out, it moves with this thing. But then it sort of stops there. But these can rotate inward to allow for more articulation. You can get the shoulder pad underneath. I like that. So you have that. These can go in and out, and they can go forward and back. You do have 90 degrees of bend at both elbows if you do the modification. And if you don't do that modification, you get 30 degrees of bend at the elbow. Everything's falling over. Nothing at the wrists for either. Well, this one's wrist can fold in. This one's wrist is static. Nothing at the waist. The hips can go forward that far. They can go back, not that far. They can go out. Unpeg the crotch. They can go out. You do have a thigh rotation. You have that knee bend with the knee pad thing, which is really cool, but you can leave it out like that if you want. This one's crotch is the only one of my 3 that likes to do this, but this was used, so. And then the ankles can go down and they can go up a little bit. So yeah, very, very like 2017 articulation. There was no standard back then, so there's no standardized joints on this thing. But it's still pretty nice, and you can get him to balance quite well in other poses and things. He does kneeling shooting in the movie quite a bit. So you can do that. You can get him to like, get his legs up pretty high. And then you can get this leg down pretty low. You can get that tail fin folded out of the way to keep that in place. You can get the arm out, get the head rotated, get this elbow bent. And you can get him into kneeling poses. Just gotta make sure that crotch doesn't unpeg. There you go. You can get him into those kneeling shooting poses, which I think is really cool. This would be something the new one, whenever they make the new one, would have to do. If it doesn't do this, it'll be very unfortunate. I really like this toy. I mean, it ain't perfect at all, but it's still my favorite toy from Transformers. I love this thing. I mean, I own all of them now. I still need a new Nitro Zeus so I can get rid of the shitty panel lined one that I did. But yeah, I would recommend this to anyone to like give it a try, but also Hasbro, Evan, Nate, please. Can we get like a new leader or a big Voyager or something like that? But that's been my look at Studio Series KSI Boss / Nitro Zeus. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.